Hi, my name is Marque Sondergaard. I'm a texture artist in visual effects, primarily in film, but also TV and commercials. I worked on films such as G.I. Joe Retaliation, Ender's Game, Jupiter Ascending, Face of an Angel, Little Chaos, and right now I'm painting textures for the TV show Olympus. See, I was working for Sony Computer Entertainment, and I was overseeing 8 or 9 countries as in a business function, but I was always an artist growing up, and one of my friends from university was at that point a modeler at the Digital Domains London studio, and he said there was an open position as a runner. And when you're an artist and you don't work with your art, it's sadly not a choice whether you want to be an artist or not. You just have a silent song in your heart that you can't drown out. You can pretend, but you are never happy doing it. So when he got in touch and said, hey, there's a runner position opening up, you're going to be making tea, you're going to be fetching mail, you're going to be emptying bins and all this kind of stuff, but you may have a shot at getting an artist position through that job. I left that world of high-flying business executive and started over.
And what do you love most about the job that you do?
We get to make pretty pictures and we get paid for it. I mean, don't tell them. It's amazing, you know? Seriously, you feel very privileged in that way when you see what other people do for a living. So that's what I love. I love creating things that don't exist, or have never existed, or could not exist, or only exist in the imagination of a director or a screenwriter or whatever it may be. It is when you first see, when you go take those steps from the gray, bare mesh that is modeled and sculpted, and then you, in my function, I texture it, I paint, I cover it with color, I cover it with material properties such as reflectiveness, transparency, bumpiness, all these kinds of things. And then little by little, all the steps of the visual effects pipeline, you see it come to life to the point where you even have to paint yourself, and you're like, you know that it is not real, but now you're fooled yourself, you know. It's magical. It's absolutely magical. My very first Wacom product was the Intuos 2, which I bought back in 2002. And that tablet has taken so much abuse from my children and myself over the years, moving to another country, and survived all of it. I still have it, and it still works. It's a fantastic piece of kit. At work, we use the Wacom 4s, but I've never had the chance to work with the Cintiq before. It's the Rolls-Royce model, obviously. They're expensive. So getting a chance to spend some quality time with the Cintiq was amazing, because the funny thing is that when you learn to draw as a kid, you're sitting there with a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil, and your hand is on the canvas and you're looking at what you're doing. But you have to unlearn that when you start working with a tablet, and there is quite a bit of frustration and trial and error as you're looking now straight forward at your screen while your hand is down here working on the tablet, and there's no point in looking down on your hand. And then the Cintiq takes you all back to the pen and paper, you know. It takes you back to how it was meant to be, the old school of being an artist, really, which is amazing. That's an amazing full circle to make. And that's been fascinating, going back to just naturally looking at what you're doing as you're doing it. I think that's the magic of the Cintiq. The primary tool I use as a texture artist is Mari. And using that on a Cintiq is lovely, because Mari is full of responsive brushes with that will feel your pen pressure and all that kind of stuff. So in the software, the painting experience is right there. And with the Cintiq, you just take that little extra step of getting that haptic interface that can work with the brush system in Mari. So it's been great. You have a screen of a high quality, and then you're able to interact with it in a much more natural fashion than you normally would do, which would be the combination of a mouse and a stylus on a tablet. So the Cintiq device that I have was the one with the touch support, and that's marvelous because we know from our tablets that it's so intuitive to interact with them. The pinch for zoom and what have you for rotation, and going forward, when the Foundry starts adding more Cintiq support into Mari for such functions, that will allow me to work on a much more intuitive basis with Mari. I was a bit apprehensive when I got the boxes because it is a lovely large screen, but also quite heavy. But with the Ergo stand, I think that really is the best feature of it, that you're able to move this sizable and heavy screen about with but the touch of a finger, really, and placing it in all kinds of weird, odd, wonderful angles that you'd never be able to do with a traditional monitor or tablet, for that matter. Moving from an A4-sized Wacom tablet to a big 26-inch Cintiq has been like moving from a small little bedsit to a big mansion. In the beginning, you're thinking, what am I going to do with all this space? All the screen real estate and all of that, but then after a while you can't understand you ever managed to live before. So it's it reminds me a lot about the painting at my easel on a canvas, because it's sort of like a full body motion to work on it, as opposed to just simple wrist movements. And now you have that again, where you're using your whole shoulder joint and parts of your upper body for all of your brush strokes and all of the things you do. So it's great. Thinking critically about how you utilize every single of the keys on the Express Remote, and squeezing that last 40% out of the Express Remote to mirror the keyboard shortcuts that you'd normally use for your most used functionalities in your software. That's going to really speed up my texture painting workflow. I want a clacker board. I want those ones, you know. I don't have one. I don't know where you get them. Anyway.